You asked for it and you got it. It's another episode of Pop Culture Junkie podcast. My name is Shauna and I'm here with
Olivia.
And as always, we want to thank you all so much for giving us a listen. Just a little reminder that we have a Patreon. I just wanted to shout that out here at the top of the show. At the low, like you lots level of $1 a month, we'll give you a special shout out in an episode of the show. On that Best Friends Forever level of $5 a month, you'll get access to our uncensored video content and a week early. So you'll get to brag about listening to Pop Culture Junkie before all of your friends.
You get to see Shauna drink what looks like piss. But apparently it's wine.
This is, God, this is dehydrated piss too. It's nice and yellow.
Oh.
Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/popculturejunkie. Anyway, that's not right at all. Find us at patreon.com/popculturejunkiepodcast. Back to the show. Today, we're going to talk about celebrity beefs, disses, rivalries, and more, which is pretty topical, so close to the Super Bowl. But then again, celebrities are always beefing, aren't they? So let's get into it. Olivia, why do you think celebrities like to beef, I guess, before we get into some of our favorites? What causes a good beef? What makes a good beef? God, I'm so hungry now.
I need beef.
I need some beef.
So I think that, you know, when you think about celebrity just in general, a lot of the time, like to be famous and to be a good famous person, you have to have some sort of delusion, right? Or think that you are this amazing person who the world needs to see and you're this talent. So I think a lot of the feuds that we see are a lot of like ego that comes into it. Now, of course, we're humans and we're going to try to see ourselves within these feuds as well. And so a lot of the time, like we latch on to these famous celebrity feuds because it's like, oh, well, I've had that happen to me, so I sympathize with this person. I think when you not just like Kendrick and Drake right now, you also look at like a really popular feud that's unfolding is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Right?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see how people are latching onto it. I mean, I'm surprised so many people are on Justin Baldoni's side, but that's a big
me too. Honestly.
I think that, you know, we get so obsessed in these feuds because we see ourselves within them. So I think a lot of the time it needs to be people who have an emotional reaction, either positive or negative, to that celebrity.
Interesting.
That they can see themselves within the struggle or within their line of decision making, as well as like it's, you know, we have enough information to be sucked in.
That is so funny because that's like the opposite of what I was thinking when it came to celebrity feuds.
Ooh, tell me yours.
Instead of, I totally get where you're coming from, like seeing yourself in them. What I see from a good celebrity beef is that it's so nonsensical and it's something that would never happen to any normal person. It's so over the top that you feel okay laughing at it, right?
Okay.
It's like, I'm never going to be a pop star. I'm never going to care if somebody stole my backup dancer. So therefore, I'm okay with laughing at this shit because it feels so just petty and privileged, right?
But you probably have had a coworker who like takes a resource from you or does something like that. Or someone in your like field who tries to like steal that opportunity or steal your idea. And then,
so like a smaller scale for sure. So I guess it's a little bit of both, right? Like if you think about what's at the core of some celebrity feuds, you're like, okay, it's jealousy or it's this or it's that. But my favorite ones are always the ones where I'm like, this is absurd and both of you are fucking stupid and I'm just here for the drama, right?
Yes. Yeah. I also think that, you know, especially today, like we saw this with like Don't Worry, Darling, people know in PR and marketing that this captures people's attention.
See,
and
that
it's almost
feud was
like
so fucking stupid. Like, did he spit on somebody? It's just...
Well, no, the feud was over Olivia Wilde taking Shia LaBeouf's side over Florence Pugh.
Right. That's right. And Shia LaBeouf sucks, so.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like speculating on if it happened. Like, I almost think that to kind of even add to it, like a good feud has to have a little bit of unknown, but enough for people to start speculating like crazy. So it's that perfect kind of, if you know from like A to Z, then it's not that interesting. But if there's this gray area and a lot
That's fair. I feel like a lot of these, it's very clear who you're going to choose, right? I mean, Drake versus Kendrick, most people are team Kendrick, right? I know a few people on social media who are team Drake better. But for most of these people, we're not going to root for Kanye West, right? We're not going to root for
I hope not.
Kim Kardashian.
Supremacist, yeah. You might You might be rooting for Kanye if you're on the wrong side of history, but
Jesus Christ. I want to shout out a few classic celebrity feuds before you and I get into some of our favorite ones. So I found one between Debbie Reynolds and Elizabeth Taylor. That's an old school little throwback. Elton John and Madonna feuded.
Yep.
Kanye West and Taylor Swift. Stop me if I don't know which feuds you chose, actually. So I don't want to say anything that you did. And then Katy Perry and Taylor Swift also, which
you did say the backup dancer one, and I was like,
"That's exactly
the dumbest
what I meant.
feud, the dumbest feud of all time."
So dumb. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. That's another throwback from like what the fucking 60s. Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers. I feel like Joan Rivers feuded with everybody, though.
True. Yeah, she was the original head bitch.
Ooh, that reminds me of I Love New York, just feuding with... with who did she call?
With Omarosa on The Apprentice, yeah. And we've seen these feuds throughout time. They're not just limited to like movie stars, pop stars and things like that. Like we have like Coco Chanel and Elsa Schiaparelli.
Yep.
We have Joan Crawford and Betty Davis. We have Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. So we even bring in the men into this petty little mix here with Michael Jackson and Prince. So there's all of these feuds throughout history. And I do think it is such an interesting way to examine previous feuds that were largely in the tabloids rather than
social media fodder and things like that, and people speculating and creating TikTok videos like, hey, get this newspaper, see? You set me up for that one. You teed me up for that one, bitch.
Is it a pop culture junkie podcast episode if Shauna doesn't bring out her newsboy episode?
Newsboy accent.
Yeah, there you go. As long as it's not a newsboy cap, we're okay with it.
Or the Christian band, the Newsboys from the early 2000s.
Yep. Didn't have that in the old noggin.
Oh, it's up there. It's up there. It's up there. Another thing that I thought was interesting about celebrity feuds are feuds that, were they ever feuds? Or is this just something that the public kind of created, right?
Or public.
So you mentioned Prince and Michael Jackson. Obviously they're both mega famous singers, but like, were they ever actually feuding? Or did people just kind of pit them against each other, much like Britney and Christina? Like, Britney and Christina threw their little barbs at each other every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm not sure if those two ever, like, classically had a feud. Do you know what I mean? I think it was just kind of people, these two people are very similar, so obviously they must not like each other. Kind of pitting them against each other.
If you go listen to the Woman in Me episode we did about Britney Spears' novel, she actually talks about it a little bit and discusses how her and Christina were actually, they weren't like friends, but they were like coworkers, and they had such similar experiences within their life. They started as child stars. They were both pop stars going through like the TRL days and all that stuff.
Yep.
And so I think like Britney, sweetheart that she is, was like, oh, I liked her. We just, we're always pitted next to each other. My favorite fact about Christina Aguilera's career is she was created to be what her record label called Arabian Britney. And that's why she did.
Arabian. That is so inappropriate.
Right? She's like a white girl. She's Latina, but she's from Pennsylvania. So Arabian it's literally, Britney. It's so funny. And that's why they had her do Genie in a Bottle. Yep. And
God, that's fucked up.
I'm sure if we ever got like a Christina Aguilera memoir, which I would love to read,
Oh my God, absolutely.
That there would probably be more resentment from Christina to Britney than Britney to Christina, because Britney was first. Britney was kind of that blueprint. And then all these people came around her.
I totally agree.
Or Avril Lavigne was punk Britney. And so Avril Lavigne really took a lot of swings at Britney in the early 2000s because she was always being like categorized or against Britney Spears.
Yeah. And I think I don't know. That was the cool thing to do, I guess, in the early 2000s, because Pink did it a lot too, right? Like take swings at Britney, be like, I'm the cool punk girl, which is so funny because Pink is so not punk. Or alternative.
Go put on your harness, fly around a stadium a little more.
If you put on like any adult rock music station across the country, you're going to hear a Pink song. But like that, they kind of teed her up to be like, oh, she's the anti-Britney. One of her songs is even like, I'm no Britney Spears. She's so pretty. And her and Christina feuded too, actually, now that I think about it. Back when they did Lady Marmalade together. I think for years later, they were kind of in a feud. I want to take a quick break before we get into some specific examples, but I'm glad that we kind of broke down what makes a good beef. So let's take a quick break and then talk about a couple of our favorite beefs a little deeper. Deeper beef. I love a deep beef. So we've talked about what makes a good beef. Now let's talk about some of our favorites. Olivia, why don't you start us off with one of your all-time favorite celebrity feuds?
Okay. So speaking of petty, ridiculous drama that will never experience in your entire life.
I need to disassociate. I need something that I can never relate to because of, the horrors.
Yeah, the horrors. Yes.
The horrors.
So one of my favorite beefs of all time is from the petty queen herself, Martha Stewart.
Oh my God, I love her.
Paltrow.
Obviously we're Team Martha. You don't even have to go on.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But go on.
Gwyneth, go put in your enema.
Go sniff your pussy candle, girl.
Yeah, there you go. So Martha Stewart, this feud started in 2014 when Martha Stewart called out Gwyneth Paltrow in an interview with Porter magazine. And she actually offered kind of a sassy response to people asking how Martha felt about Gwyneth starting Goop, right? So Goop is a lifestyle brand. Martha Stewart is, I think she's really the original influencer even before Paris Hilton, right? And so this kind of goes back into that comparison of people are always like, well, how do you feel about this person like doing what you do? And Martha Stewart was pretty candid in an interview, and she said she needs to be quiet. She's a movie star. If she were confident in her acting, she wouldn't be trying to be Martha Stewart.
Damn, Martha. Okay, shit.
So her feathers were a little ruffled by that. And a few weeks later, Gwyneth actually responded to what Martha had to say in a Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit with sarcasm. No one has ever said anything bad about me before, so I'm shocked and devastated. I'll try to recover. She also was happy that Stewart said that because it showed her that Goop is her competition.
Oh, shit. I mean, that is kind of true. Because if you weren't afraid of something, you could just be like, you know what? I wish her luck. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yes. And I think Martha Stewart is a really good capture of the middle class woman and was very aspirational for that group of women.
Which is funny because she's not middle class at all. But I know what you mean. Everybody's moms watched the Martha Stewart show in the 90s.
Yeah, and she was like in Lifestyle magazine, and that was like her core demographic, and she was really going for this middle class women, as opposed to Gwyneth Paltrow, who is very much going after the rich women, right? So she's going after the Kim Kardashians of the world and things like that.
Influencers.
And I will say, when I was in LA and I was driving up to San Francisco, I had Goop Kitchen. It is so
Wait, is it a restaurant?
Yeah, so they started a restaurant in LA as well called Goop Kitchen. Oh my God, it was so good.
Kitchen's a terrible name for a restaurant.
Yeah, it sounds like Goop Kitchen. Goop is just a terrible name in general. And so it was really, really interesting. And this feud is still going on to this day. But
really?
kind of where, yeah, so they still make jabs at each other from time to time.
I didn't know that.
The biggest feud moment is when Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin announce their divorce and have the famous line, conscious uncoupling.
So stupid.
Instead of we're getting a divorce. It was really PR spin, right? And so Martha Stewart Living did an editorial about pies, and she called it the conscious coupling.
The conscious coupling, what, like 2 different flavors of pie, or like a pie in my mouth?
I think it was multiple. I don't remember the article per se, but yeah, I think it was things that go well with certain pie flavors.
That's pretty funny.
Things like
That's
that.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, right. So conscious coupling. And Gwyneth decided to swing back less than a month later and posted a recipe for jailbird cake. So incredibly funny.
That's really funny too.
Incredibly
funny. I'm
funny.
here for both of them. I take it back. This is hilarious.
Right? Exactly.
Martha started it too. Like
Martha, sometimes puts her foot in her mouth. But I do think it's kind of a little bit of Martha, trying to keep her reign. Because now Martha Stewart is an icon. She was in how many Super Bowl commercials. But when she's
best friends with Snoop Dogg,
yeah. But when she first came out of prison, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix documentary about her.
I haven't.
It's worth a watch.
I love her. I'm going to do that for sure.
It's very good. But she really didn't know if she was going to be able to come back because, again, she was this aspirational person to these middle-class women. And then she gets in trouble for insider trading.
She seems so pure and kind of like you're visiting your grandma, your auntie, right? And you come over and she's like, it's so good. She makes you a pie. And then all of a sudden she's arrested and you're like, that's like my mom's friend getting arrested. Like, what? And,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. And her PR team did a great job kind of spinning her to be kind of like a little like a bad girl, right? And she had
to. Yeah. I think she completely had to redo herself. She's like, I smoke and I bang men.
Me too, girl. Good for her.
And I'm divorced. She had to go through somewhat of a rebrand, but I think that's one of the funniest little petty ones because it truly is lifestyle influencers taking jabs at each other.
And that's my favorite ones that I can laugh at and that completely remove me from all reality because I'm like, I can't relate to a single thing you just said. None of that will ever happen to me.
I can relate to leaving passive-aggressive jabs and hoping those who know, though, right?
Okay.
And so it's like, if you know, you know.
Good.
I can relate to being like, well, she can't be me. Go Martha. Gwyneth funny.
Leaving a vague quote on your story for your Insta. And if I'm like, oh, I know who that's about. Okay.
Talking shit about people on my podcast, whatever floats your boat.
We would never do that.
Maybe we'll talk about some beefs we want to start after this.
Oh my God. You and you're already, Olivia is a beefer, you guys. Olivia beefs.
Call me Big Beef. Yeah.
We need to make a drinking game out of this episode. Anytime one of us says beef, whoever's listening has to take a drink. My favorite celebrity feud is Sarah Jessica Parker versus Kim Cattrall. So the tensions between these two lovely ladies from Sex and the City, who played Carrie Bradshaw and Samantha Jones respectively, has spanned many, many years. So we're going to do a quick rundown. From the 90s to 2004, the two ladies worked together on Sex and the City with reports of salary disputes emerging. Cattrall had reportedly asked for a higher salary after Parker became an executive producer and received a significant pay increase. Carrie was the main character of the show. The other core 3 friends were secondary main characters, but it's Carrie's show, right? 2004, the original series ended. There were already rumors of some tensions on the set. Both of the actresses remained professional during their public appearances. And then 2 Sex and the City movies were made, 2008 to 2010. Reports suggested there was growing strain between them, and Cattrall had initially hesitated to join the films, but took them because she negotiated her salary really well, which, you go, girl. 2017, the breaking point came when Kim publicly announced that she would not participate in a third Sex and the City movie, which was a great move because the second one was awful. That was one of the worst.
It was complete ass. It was
one of the worst movies I think I've seen. I've ever seen. There you go. End of sentence. She told Piers Morgan in an interview, Piers Morgan, by the way, but she told Piers Morgan in an interview that she and Sarah Jessica Parker were never friends, just colleagues, and that she wishes Sarah would have been nicer, or she said she could have been nicer. In 2018, Kim Cattrall's brother passed away, and Sarah expressed condolences publicly on her Instagram, and Kim responded with an Instagram post saying, quote, "I don't need your love and support at this tragic time at Sarah Jessica Parker. Let me make this very clear. You are not my family and you are not my friend." Damn.
First of all, I would do some shit like that in a second.
Yes,
I'd be like, stop trying to use my brother's death in a way to make us look like we're friends and you're a good person, Sarah Jessica Parker. And, obviously Kim Cattrall was very upset at that moment in time and was grieving and all those things. So I love it. I think Sarah Jessica Parker, I used to think she was really annoying. I think I put a lot of Carrie onto Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, I could see that.
She is very close with Andy Cohen. And I don't know how I feel about Andy Cohen, but I do like that she is very involved in the gay community and a lot of famous gays love her. So that has warmed me to her a little bit.
I saw her at the mall once.
What does she look like? She looked
gorgeous.
Beautiful in person.
Yeah, gorgeous. She was buying shoes. Everyone was crowding around her. Oh, years ago in Vegas. She was at one of those fancy Vegas malls. But no, I feel you. This is one where my gut says to go with Kim Cattrall. And especially in that situation because, okay, if you aren't friends with somebody and you guys are just colleagues and you're pretending to be friends on a show, express your condolences in private, right? If you really feel like you want to say, "I'm so sorry, Kim," text her, girl, call her, email her. You don't need to put it on her Instagram post, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't remember when Kim Cattrall's brother died, if it was even really in the public. It might have been
2018, but I don't remember how in the news it was.
Yeah, so it's kind of well, why are you bringing this to the media? I can't remember if it was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would definitely behave in the same way that Kim Cattrall did.
Yeah, just be like, fuck you. If you really want to say sorry, then call me or whatever.
Yes.
In 2022, Sarah addressed the situation in an interview saying it was, quote, very hard to talk about the situation with Kim, but denied there was ever a fight. So Sarah, for her part, has been everything's fine. No? What do you mean? Right? When there's clearly a feud going on.
Well, Kim is the real winner in this because how much money did she get to go on? And just like that, it was
oh my God. So,
millions
I don't know.
And millions.
It was millions. Okay, so that brings us to 2023. Kim made a brief cameo and Just Like That season 2. So in And Just Like That, they write Samantha out of the show by saying that she and Carrie got in a fight because Carrie fired her as her PR
publicist,
advisor. Yeah, her publicist. Which, I don't know. It was a very contrived kind of fight. And every once in a while they text or they email. Samantha sent Carrie flowers when Big died kind of things. And at the end of season 1, they meet for dinner, but Kim Cattrall is not shown on camera. Now, at the end of season 2, it was maybe 3 minutes long, if that. And she filmed her scenes separately from the other cast members, didn't interact with Sarah Jessica Parker at all. And it was just a phone call between them. And it would cut between Carrie in her apartment and Samantha in the backseat of a car, on the phone, "Oh, I'm so sorry I can't make it to the going away party, darling. You know how things are." So I screamed. We were all Sex and the City fans were dying. We wanted her to be on this so bad. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. They're obviously still not friends, but money can do wonders, darling, as Samantha would say. And they are making And Just Like That season 3. So
unfortunately.
I'm here for it. I love mess. I'm here for it.
I don't love mess ruining a perfect show with bad writing,
but the second movie already did that. So you know what? Fuck it. Let's just keep going. Make it messy. Make it messy. Yeah. All right. Do you have another one you want to tell us about?
Yes. For this one, I went ahead across the pond.
Oh,
to
lovely.
Simply lovely.
Simply lovely.
When you fought. So one of the most iconic feuds of the 90s, unfortunately, was ended in a terrible way. But Diana and Charles, I want to talk a little bit about their feud. Now, most of these feuds do not start when two people are married.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly what makes Princess Diana and King Charles so iconic in this, and why it captured not just the English attention, but the American attention.
Yeah.
Princess Diana was seen as the people's princess, right? She was such a darling. Everybody loved her and really thought so highly of her. When she was alive, she was the most photographed woman in the world. And so Diana was a part of this aristocrat circle, but she captured people's attention like across the world.
She just seems so kind and, you know, like
and
genuine and sweet. Like she seemed like somebody who really wanted to, like you could go get brunch with, right? And it didn't help, you know, her that she was gorgeous. So
yes, and that approachability really was not afforded to any other royal at all. And, you know, Diana didn't see the point in a lot of these royal rules. She broke a lot of them before she married Charles, during and after as well. And so and I don't know, have you ever seen The Crown?
No, I haven't. It seems kind of boring, I'm gonna be honest.
No, it's so good. It's so freaking good.
Does anyone do it?
Yeah, lots of
really?
Yeah.
Oh. For some reason, I thought it was like no one did it in that show.
You do know that they had babies, right?
Yeah,
there's lots of babies.
Like, I don't know. They don't show how the babies are made. Like they're eating the soup. They don't have to show you making the soup. I'll watch it if there's doing it.
There's doing it. There's doing it. So I love The Crown. I think it's so good. And they do a really good job at portraying this dynamic, right? Of Charles was always kind of this spoiled rich boy, soon to be king. Yeah. And the public really did not like him. And then he gets told that he's going to have to marry Diana, even though he's in love with Camilla. And she starts to steal Charles's light in his mind, right? And so throughout their marriage, he's in love with Camilla, as well as he's very jealous of the praise and attention that she gets. And
so wait, were him and Diana ever like dating?
Not really, no. So he's told that he's going to marry her, and they get married.
I didn't know that.
Pretty quickly.
Damn, okay.
Charles actually dated Diana's older sister before he dated Diana.
I didn't know any
aristocrat. Of this. Yes, that's why you gotta watch The Crown. So it's this, it's this aristocrat.
No, Aristocats. Great movie.
Great movie. And so he is in love with Camilla, and really where this feud kind of starts is they go and visit the Taj Mahal. The royals do like this tour. And it's in 1992, and they were already kind of having rumors that things weren't going right. There was speculation that Charles was in love with another woman, he might be cheating, and all of those things. And so they were filmed, photographed, and they looked like they were pissed at each other. Yeah. And then a few days later, Charles tries to kiss Diana publicly at a polo match, and she like moves back, and
it's giving like it Donald and Melania.
It is giving Donald and Melania, but, you know, at least Diana was attractive out of all of those people. Yeah.
Ooh, she's starting
Shots fired at Melania.
She's starting a beef.
Shots fired at Melania. And so really what they're going on, and in order to kind of circumvent Charles looking bad, the press within the Crown says that she is cheating with her protection officer. And so they kind
God.
of start this rumor that Diana's the one who's cheating. And that's why, you know, ultimately their marriage is on the rocks. Diana is an evil person because everybody already loves her. No one really cares about Diana indiscretions. And then ultimately, like I said, like he's in love with Camilla. It's his now wife. It's the queen of being, or whatever they call the
queen
wife
consort.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's the mom. I think that's the mom. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
We're not English.
Yeah, whatever. If you're listening, you can school us in the Instagram DMs. So this iconic love triangle gets the iconic "I want to be your tampon"
what
from Charles to Camilla.
No, what? No, what?
You've never heard of this? Okay.
No.
Okay. So I want to say that Diana leaks recordings to the press, and of her capturing this conversation between Charles and Camilla, where he is like saying, like, I don't even love her. I don't want to be with her. I love you so much. I want to be your tampon. That's how much I love you. Yeah. Yes. And so
that's vile. Men, just don't. No, you don't want to be my tampon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Now you finally relate to Andrew.
That's vile.
Yes. So it is
the tampon
really, really
inside
iconic.
of me now is going, no.
We can't do that.
The king isn't in you.
Literally, yeah. So iconic. Watch The Crown. I'm going to send you some articles about it because it is disgusting and hilarious. And kind of after these recordings get leaked and it comes out in the press, they are swinging back and forth at each other. They announced that they're getting divorced in December 1992 and really kind of had this crazy back and forth of them really dissing each other. Diana is not following the rules of the crown.
Dang.
Obviously, she left him, but there was still this expectation that she would kind of play by the rules. And because
they had 2 kids, I guess, right? They were like, "You're raising little princess."
Yes, and she was about to get engaged to Dodi Al-Fayed, and that night she ultimately dies in a car crash. But this public feud really did start to fuel the speculation that the crown had Princess Diana killed because there was so much secret knowledge being leaked out through Diana.
Like her location, where everything would be. Damn.
Correct. And Diana has, and you can find these in a lot of documentaries, she was being interviewed by an author. And so there's all these tapes of her kind of talking about what was going on behind the cloak. In Kensington Palace, and
so there's obviously a book going to come out and spill some secrets. So the crown would have a little bit of like, let's take her out before this happens.
Correct. Yeah, and it did take a while for those recordings to come out and things like that. And so when you start adding in government and all this crazy stuff and a whole nation, like
it goes all the way to the top.
But you know, it starts at the tampon, goes to the top.
It makes me itchy. Like I'm sweating. I can't.
It is iconic, and that is really like a tabloid feud, right? It was all done in the Star. It was done in the Daily Mail, and so that was a really interesting one, I think, to look back at as well and kind of talk about what happened because it was so different than a TikTok.
Yeah, thank you for filling me in on that. I knew like the highlights, but apparently not the bloody bits of it, if you will. God. So fucking gross. Yeah. All right. Well, rest in peace, Diana. I'm going to move on to another, I guess, a mid-2010, early aughts feud. Eminem versus Mariah Carey to finish us out in this episode. So Eminem and Mariah Carey allegedly dated in 2001. Eminem claims that they dated for about 6 months, while Mariah Carey has consistently denied any relationship beyond just a few hangout sessions, right? 2002, Eminem begins referencing Mariah Carey in his songs, including the song Superman, where he raps about dating. In 2003, Mariah Carey appears to respond on her album Charm Bracelet with subtle references in songs like the song Clown, which is a great reference to how she feels about Eminem. In 2005, coming back to some voicemails, Eminem plays alleged voicemails from Mariah Carey during his anger management tour and includes a diss in his song When I'm Gone. It's so funny to be like rap dissing and battling Mariah Carey. I don't know why. It cracks me up.
She is an R&B queen, or she started as an R&B queen. Now she's more pop, but
that is true. 2006, now it's her turn. She releases the song Say Something. 2009, he releases Bagpipes from Baghdad, which directly attacks Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon, who was her husband at the time. So
Nick Cannon is always out here catching strays for Mariah. It's quite funny. He deserves it, but...
He does. Man, okay. Now, this is my favorite part of the beef. Mariah Carey releases Obsessed, a music video and song clearly mocking Eminem. She dresses up like Eminem with like a fake goatee, a gray hoodie with like the hood up, and literally sings throughout the song like, "Why are you so obsessed with me?"
I do think that's my favorite Mariah Carey song. That
It's
isn't
so
All
good.
I Want for Christmas.
You're delusional, boy, you're losing your mind. I do love that Mariah is always very unbothered. All of her interviews, she's always just like, I don't know her. But like Ariana Grande or J-Lo or whatever, she's like, no.
Yeah.
Who?
Well, when you were, one of the ones that I was going to do was Mariah and J-Lo as well. But I was like, maybe not two Mariahs in a row. But you said it started in 2001. Her feud with J-Lo also started in 2001.
2001, because supposedly they dated in 2001. She denies it, but he says they dated.
I 100% believe that did happen, that they hooked up in some way.
I think they maybe slept together, but I don't know if they like were like dating. But sure, maybe they slept together. 2001 was also, of course, 9/11. Mariah Carey has the worst 9/11 story because Glitter came out on 9/11. On September 11th. Oh my God. And then remember her on TRL and she takes off her top and hands out ice cream to everyone. And everyone's like, she's losing her mind.
No, she actually was. Yeah. She was in the middle of a manic episode. Yeah. She ended up going to rehab then. So a lot of these feuds started right after she left her husband, Tommy Mottola, both the Eminem and the J-Lo one. And so I think for her, she's like, look, I was in the middle of a manic episode. I would have never slept with you. You took advantage of me. And I think that she wanted to just distance herself from Eminem. And Eminem would not let her. And so she's like, I'm going to deny this ever happened. And you know what? Just hope it goes away. And he wouldn't let her.
Even if you did sleep with somebody, it's no one's business. It's not the public's business. So, like, he was in the wrong to be like, yeah, I slept with her. We dated. I mean, maybe that's no one's business but between the two of them. So, you know, if she wanted to be like, that's not true. Nope.
Completely
and just piss him off, then.
We made a monster out of Eminem because we glorified him. We were like, oh my God, he's this white rapper who will like start beef with anyone. He talks shit to
all
Christina.
Of his lyrics are about like trigger warning, raping and killing women.
And his mother.
And he talks about gay people. And I know he's grown up a lot over the years. And like, I'm sure that he looks back on some of that and cringes. But like, that's forever, right?
Yeah. Like, ultimately.
That music's like, it's out there. I don't know. I'm obviously Team Mariah on this one, but I'm usually going to side with the lady.
I think it happened, but yeah, I mean, Eminem is Eminem.
Business. Yeah.
Yes.
So Eminem responds quickly with The Warning. That's a diss track back to Mariah. She releases another song in 2010 called I'm Obsessed with You, which is seen by some people as another shot at Eminem. Nick Cannon in 2019, because remember he tried to have a music career, released diss tracks to Eminem. And then in advance of the release of Mariah Carey's memoir in 2020, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, Eminem was reportedly anxious about what it might reveal, but the book barely mentioned him. Good for you, girl. Like,
Yeah.
This man is such a bleep on her radar. He is so obsessed with her. And she's always maintained the position of like, no. So yeah, throughout the feud, she said they've never dated while Eminem is insisting that they did. The back and forth has subsided over the years, but it is still one of hip hop and R&B's most notable feuds.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Mariah Carey is how someone asked her about J-Lo once, and she was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. It reminds me of when J-Lo went back to her old neighborhood and was like, I used to live here, to some guy. And he's like, who are you? She's like, Jennifer Lopez. He's like, who is that?
Yeah, ultimately,
Sorry,
if
Shayla. Sorry, girl.
if you can learn anything from this, it is to act like Mariah whenever you have haters and deny they exist or deny it ever happened.
I'm sorry, who? Who? I don't know. Let's wrap up and take a quick little break. And then I want to know more about who you're beefing with, Olivia, as well as what you're just kind of up to in life. All right, Olivia, I know that everybody loves you and that you've never said a bad thing about anyone ever.
Ever.
But if you could beef with a celebrity, we'll keep it brief, or a public figure or an entity of some sort, and we're both going to keep this decidedly non-political because I'm proud of us because we know who we would beef with. We know who we would. Yeah. But besides that, who would you beef with, girl?
So ultimately, I was really thinking about, I talk a lot of shit, so it's hard to
you do.
To
I
parse
love you
through.
So much.
It's hard to parse through who I would, go swinging at first if I were a, even a Z-list celebrity. Who would I really come out of the gates swinging? And I really thought about it, and I was like, who lives rent-free in my head? And I could go on for hours and hours and hours about. And sadly, I landed on Scientology. So
I love that. I love it. That you're going to feud with them, not Scientology. Scientology fucking sucks.
Yes, exactly. And so, I would have a million oliviaistheworst.com websites. They may even still do it now because I am, talking about them here. But I would come swinging for Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith. Because Will Smith is a Scientologist. I don't know if you know this. Every time I tell someone this fact, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, he built a Scientology school.
He's a well-known Scientologist. Yeah.
See, I'm starting it right now. I'm going.
Same with Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
That
I
makes
did
me
stop
sad.
watching Handmaid's Tale after I found out she was a Scientologist. So yeah, I think I would beef with them. They're a terrible, cruel organization who does horrible things to its members, milks them dry of millions of dollars. And yeah, I think I would come out of the gates. Me and Leah Remini would be. I say
Leah Remini would love you.
Unfortunately, Mike Rinder just passed away recently from cancer. So him and I would not be homies today, but in spirit, I know we would be if he knew who I was.
I love that. They're going down, girl. Take them on.
Yes. And if you've never seen Going Clear on HBO, I think it's probably the best documentary I've ever seen.
Love that.
You should watch it.
Also, going to shout out Leah Remini's autobiography.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, the book is amazing. If you don't want to read the book or audiobook it, Celebrity Memoir Book Club does an amazing, I think it's 3 parts because the book is really long. They do a 3-part breakdown of everything, and it's so good. They're 2 comedians. They make a very dark topic funny.
Yeah, they're great.
Leah Remini's, we went to their live show and got to meet them there.
That's right. They were amazing. Yeah. The book is called Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, and it is worth the read, too, if you are a reader. So I had to think, who would I beef with? Because I do have... I have a whole list of motherfuckers in my head that I would come for if I was famous, right? Oh my God. And most of them are geriatric Republican white men. So we're gonna take a step back from that. And I hope that I taught you something, telling you who my feud would be with. Maybe it's something you didn't need to know, but I've gone down a rabbit hole on Instagram Reels recently. I would feud with morning shed influencers.
Yeah, explain what that is, because I didn't even know, and I am chronically online.
So a morning shed is this new beauty routine, quote unquote, that started on TikTok where you go to bed with the most things on your face and on your body that you could possibly imagine in order to wake up more beautiful, right? So there are a lot of single-use plastics. So they are including, but not limited to, silk hair wraps, mouth tape, under eye masks, anti-wrinkle patches, face tape, multiple layers of different moisturizers, skincare products, and a chin strap. So I've seen people they tape their mouth shut, put something on their chin, wrap their hair in silk. I know that a lot of cultures, like, you know, silk wraps don't come for me, but this is just people like putting the most things that you possibly can on your face and body, right? Under eye patches, you like put in like just, there's no way anybody could sleep comfortably with this, right? There's curlers underneath of this silk wrap, and like you pull your face back and tape, and I've seen it on people's chests, and then they wake up and they're like, join me for my beauty routine. Peel all of this stuff off one by one, and then go on to wash their faces with 15 different face washes, 15 different moisturizers, more single-use plastics that they rip open and smear on themselves. And then it always ends with, link in my bio to buy all of the products that I used today. It is just capitalism at its finest. Just buy. Oh, if you want to be pretty like me, you have to buy. Here's my link because I get a kickback from this, right? Mm-hmm. And I just know that so many young women and girls are watching this and are like, oh my God, I need to buy a chin strap to sleep in. Oh my God, I need to buy a 15-pack of collagen masks. Amazon cart, right? And it's very unrealistic, and it's setting, like, you think of like the 1950s housewife, right? Or like in Mrs. Maisel, where she wakes up before her husband does and like puts the curlers in her hair and her makeup on and lays back down to look all pretty for him. Like, no, dude, when I'm ready to go to sleep, I face wash, put on a little moisturizer, face plant that pillow, man. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I think it says something where it's like, oh, even while you're sleeping, you have to be focused on your physical appearance. It's like your brain isn't even awake. Why do I have to be so focused on this stuff?
Yeah, can I not just rest, please? For the love of God, can I not rest? Like, not think about beauty standards in my sleep?
I do think that I could benefit from some mouth tape, especially now that I'm living somewhere where it's really cold. Because every morning I wake up and I'm like,
I just mouth breathing so hard.
Literally, yeah. Like where I'm like, oh, why does my throat hurt? And I'm like, probably because I've been sleeping with my mouth wide open, and it's chilly.
God. I do that when I'm drunk, for sure. I'm sure. So I was recently in San Francisco visiting Olivia for my 36th birthday, and I know all of us were just around your apartment, mouth breathing, just hungover, just
Yeah, it was a great time. We went to many a gay bars, had many a seafoods. It was quite amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time. And I miss you so much.
I know. Now we have not nothing to look forward to. We talk each week, but
literally. I know. Now we need to plan your birthday, bitch. We need to get like that next thing on the calendar. I do want to wrap this up and not keep this stuff going for too long, but drop me real quick the name of a TV show or movie or something that you've watched recently that you just want to pop.
Yeah, so honestly, I am back in my reading kick. For longtime listeners, you know I go through insane stages of hyperfixation, and I have read 6 books so far in February.
My God. In February? You're insane.
By this date in February. So we're not even halfway through February when we're recording this. So I've already read 6 books. One of them is Onyx Storm, which is like 3 books in one.
She read this so fast, you guys. I'm like halfway through this book right now, and she finished this weeks ago and was like, "Where you at, girl? You finished it?"
I read it in 5 days because I'm a psychopath.
God.
So
respect.
You guys might remember me talking about a book called Bride by Ali Hazelwood, in which
the nodding book.
I got introduced to the fan fiction term called nodding. And if you haven't figured out what that is yet, go back into our episode and you can learn all about that. And in our back catalog, I can't remember which one's in it.
It might be the fan fiction episode. Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
No, because it was the one before the fan fiction episode.
You're right, because then we were
notes.
like, we should talk about fan fiction next week, because this is disgusting. Okay. And it was like the most inappropriate episode we've ever had. All right, go on.
Yes, yeah. I'm surprised they actually let us release it. So
I am too.
I read Bride. It had nodding in it, quite memorable. It was this author's first foray into fantasy, actually. She's very well known for contemporary romance, actually. And as I was kind of in this reading hole after Onyx Storm, and I was like, okay, I read Quicksilver in like 2 days right after that, and was like, I want to try a non-fantasy book, because all I keep thinking is comparing it to Onyx Storm. So I read this book called Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. It just came out, I think, February 4th. So again, I gobbled up this new release of a book, and it was so good. It was like, it was like a college athlete meets 50 Shades of Grey story.
You guys, she's been snapping me throughout the day at her office, just like, I really shouldn't be listening to this while I work. Literally, oh God, I'm so distracted.
No, today I was talking to my friend, and I work in an office with tax people and engineers. So they're very quiet people.
Yeah,
like I'm very much
down. Yeah.
I'm the loudest person in that office. And so it's very quiet at times. And I can only describe listening to a Smutty-O audiobook around your coworkers and pressing play and praying that your AirPods are connected and you're not about to like blare like he stuck one in, and like in the middle of your quiet like pin drop office. So I was literally like, this must be what it feels like to play Russian roulette, because honestly, like I'm just sitting there listening to like a 50 Shades of Grey like book.
Oh my God.
And near my coworkers, and I'm just like tee-hee-heeing over there.
I'm so here for it.
It was great.
I finished a smut novel on book on tape while I was in the office.
Shauna's so old. She's turned 36 and reverted to her 90s brain and called an audiobook My Book on Tape while we were all together.
The girls tore me apart all weekend. They're like, and then I said pantyhose, and Olivia's like, you're going to listen to your book on tape while wearing your pantyhose? You miss 36?
My hosiery.
Yes, I am. But yeah, I listened to a smutty chapter in front of my coworkers once, and the whole time I was like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact.
So funny. Yeah.
You're brave. Real quick, a movie that I watched recently that I'm going to pop is Companion. If you haven't seen it yet, Liv, highly recommend it. It is in theaters right now. So I went into it not knowing too much about it, so I almost don't want to tell you what it's about. But it stars Jack Quaid, who is one of my celebrity crushes, and Sophie Thatcher.
I have seen the trailer.
And did you kind of gather what might be going on from the trailer?
Not a clue, but it looked good.
Perfect. Watch it, because I went in and I didn't know either from the trailers, even though Andrew's like, really? I figured it out from the trailers. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't, and I'm glad. It is very surprisingly feminist, very funny, dark, violent, but witty as hell, and definitely going to pop that. So watch that for Valentine's Day for a little fucked up romance.
He was in your Nepo Baby Apocalypse.
Yes, he is, because we're going to reproduce the earth together, baby. I love him so much. And then the other thing that I'm going to pop is just Lady Gaga's new song, Abracadabra, on repeat, music video. She did it for my birthday, you guys. She released this, like, on my birthday. And then the Buffy revival was announced on my birthday, too. Like, the pop culture gods were like, here you go, Shauna, for all of your work. in pop culture. Here you go.
For your mind slipping, we'll give you back your favorite
give you
people.
Buffy and Gaga. Here you go. This will make up for your slippage.
You can't get into your TikTok because apparently your old age applies to your social media usage.
Oh, I'm locked
out
of my TikTok. Yeah, I'm locked out. But I'm okay with that. After they released that little "Thank you, Lord Savior Trump" message, I was and then I pretended like I was really cool. I don't have TikTok.
Yeah, but except you're on Reels and Facebook. So
that's true. I'm not cool. The only reason I'm not on TikTok is because I literally got locked out of it.
I do love all of the remixes that people are doing with Abracadabra.
Oh, make it even gayer than it already is.
Yes. So yeah, I've been sending them to you, but they're so good. They're so good. Yeah.
Well, this was fun. I liked this. Let's do this again sometime.
Or not.
Or not. Final episode.
I'm starting beef.
No. Don't beef me. I love you so much. The only beef I want to start with you is when we share a big steak together.
A beef stick.
A big beef stick. We could do that. I can't do that with my eyebrows. My Botox is too.
See, that's why I can't get Botox. I do this so often. I'm doing the eyebrows.
Oh, yeah. We're trying to raise our eyebrows at each other and mine don't move. All right. Well, Olivia.
She says she's trying. I'm achieving.
Olivia, if any celebrity or, member of the public wanted to start a beef with you, where could they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Livy Maries, Livimaries. I just forgot how to spell for a second there. Let's hope I did that right. Too. The hosiery. It's cutting off my brain circulation. That's what Shauna sounds like.
It is.
It's my Shauna impression.
Welcome to being 36, listeners. Hosiery.
Yes. My hosiery. My book on tape.
You can find me, Shauna Trinidad, at Shauna Trinidad on Instagram and Threads, ShaunaTrinidad. Don't forget you can find the Pop Culture Junkie podcast, social media links, blog posts, and more on our website, popculturejunkie.com. From there, you can find our podcast on all platforms where you can follow, subscribe, rate, review, all of that stuff as you are present to us. Again, please join us at Patreon, like I mentioned earlier in the episode. We have $1 and $5 levels. You can do that at patreon.com/popculturejunkiepodcast. Sign up for that sneak peek or get a super special shout out from us. And make sure you come back next time for another hit of pop culture.
The Pop Culture Junkie podcast is produced by Jeff Markin and Cheryl Lightfoot for the Pop Culture Entertainment Network.
So entertain me right now. I need it bad. 'Cause I need it bad.